Hello, I'm Tony, and I've been thrown thousands of years into the future to play Warhammer 40k Mechanicus, a game free from the Epic Games Store until the 3rd of November 2022. It's a tactical turn-based strategy game based in the Warhammer 40k universe, which I don't know that much about. I read a few books set there, so I know very basic stuff, like there's a huge war between the Imperium and the forces of chaos and everything else that exists in the universe. And it's a pretty miserable place, but that's about it. I'm about to learn more, at least about the Adeptus Mechanicus, the tech priests of Mars. And you know what? I think I've learnt quite a bit about them, because the game really sets them up well and puts you firmly in their world. Initially, you're in charge of 2 tech priests, which are your main units, and as many basic infantry units as you have roster spots for. The tutorial is good provided you read everything. My first go through, I just started playing to make sure the laptop could run it, and clicked through the explanations really quickly, and got a bit lost. The second time I actually did read it, and it made so much more sense. In essence, you need CP points, cognition points, to use certain weapons, and to deploy your non-tech priest units during battle. When you're on a mission, you enter a series of linked rooms, and your decisions along the way can grant you CP points for the next fight, give you some currency to upgrade your tech priests or buy better units, or can damage your units and alert the enemy. During a fight, standing next to certain structures can gain CP points, as can scanning an enemy or destroying an enemy. By default, you do not get CP points at the start of the round, which means you do need to be proactive in order to deploy more troops or use your most powerful weapons. Very different to a lot of turn-based strategy games I've played. There are the general mechanics of these type of games, including the sort of opportunity attacks if you move out of melee range, melee and ranged attack weapons which you need to equip on your tech priests, using cover, the usual things. Movement and actions can be broken up so you can move out of cover, fire at someone, and then jump back into cover all within your single turn. Completing a mission provides rewards. Failing one means missing out on them, though you don't actually lose your tech priest by the standard settings. There are hardcore modes available that will kill them on a failure if you want a massive increase in the challenge. I mentioned tech priests being able to level up, and this aspect was pretty good. When you level one up, you get a choice of disciplines that they can be trained in. There's healers, melee, ranged and CP disciplines, though you can mix and match to your heart's content. All you need is enough money, or Blackstone Rock as it's called in the game. Levelling up also grants you a new slot on your character sheet for armour, weapons or items. I've only been able to upgrade them 5 levels so far, but each of my characters has 2 weapons they can use and a couple of pieces of armour, which has made a huge difference within the actual fights. There are different damage types, physical and various different elemental type ones. Electric, there's ones that do acid damage, so I've tried to balance that within the team, because enemies can have different types of armour. If you've got an enemy that has all physical armour, it's going to be a lot harder to bring them down with just physical attacks, so a balance there is a good idea. Another game mechanic that adds to the tactical options available are canticles, which in my head are spells, that give you a range of options such as increased damage on the next hit, adding armour, or some healing. All of them are locked behind in-game achievements, which is the only part that takes me out of the world a little bit. It's a bit too meta feeling, even if it makes sense in a way in the game. Not using canticles in a fight 3 times in order to unlock a different canticle doesn't make that much sense to me. There is a tech option from the main screen that shows all the canticles and what achievements need to be completed to gain each one. There's going to be fights where you're basically doing stuff just to get a canticle. Bit of a shame that it takes you out, but no major issue really. The same text screen also shows various weapons, armour and troops you've unlocked. Some of these you unlock when you complete a mission, some are discovered on your travels. There may be loads of other ways to discover them I've not seen yet. One aspect of the game that I'm really enjoying, and it's basically a ticking clock. You are held in a Necron area, which are basically alien robots that would much prefer you left if you don't mind. As you look around their vaults, actions you take can increase their alertness, which affects the fights in that mission. As the number goes up, you'll end up with more of them the higher the alert level, or they will regenerate quicker and get up from being defeated quicker. Various other things that you really don't want them to have. So when you encounter each room and get to choose a course of action, you really have to weigh the potential gains against the potential higher alert level. This isn't just on a mission level though, this is on a campaign level. Whatever level is reached on a mission is added to a counter in the overall campaign. When that counter reaches 100%, you need to leave because they're fully woken up and are pretty grumpy about it, and they are done asking nicely. This is a great mechanic. You have the dilemma of, is it better to do more missions as quickly as possible or do fewer missions more fully? I felt a real sense of time ticking by. It put a lot of interesting pressure on the decisions I was making. You may have noticed I've not spoken about the graphics and sound so far. That's positive really, because that's how immersed I am in the game. The graphics are appropriately dark and moody. They're more than good enough. I can distinguish in the fights between different unit types. The portraits of the leaders is quite atmospheric. The speech of the leaders are very good as well. They vary between human sounding and uncomprehensively mechanical, and add to the feeling of being in this group. The music throughout also sets the tone for the game, reflecting either the alien vault or the technologically advanced spaceship you travel about in. The writing, speech, music and graphics all blend seamlessly together to put me slap bang in this really weird universe that now feels pretty normal. I feel like I know the characters. I am really enjoying this game. It's a solid tactical game backed up by a lot of atmosphere and enough options to make me feel like there's a good range within a fight without feeling too overwhelming. If you like turn-based strategy games, I think this is a must try and it's a highly recommended for me. I now need to reboot and reset some of my 41st century implants, so I'm off. Thanks for watching and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.